This video is going to be looking at the internal view of the skull. So when we look at the inside of the skull, we can see a bunch of different foramen or holes. So remember, a hole is a foramen. So we're going to see a lot of those, and we'll also see some other features as well. So if we start here towards, this is going to be the anterior surface. This right here that kind of sticks up, I don't know if you can see it a little better if I do that, that part that's sticking up right there, that's going to be the Crista Galli. So Crista Galli is the crest of the chicken. It's supposed to, somebody thought it looked kind of like the little comb that's on the top of a chicken's head. So that's the Crista Galli right here. Around that, you see this little plate with all the holes in it right here. That is the cribriform plate. So you have Crista Galli here, and then the cribriform plate with all those little olfactory foramina. So all the little holes that you're seeing in here, that's where the olfactory nerves come into basically in through the skull and then attached to the brain. So we have that. Then you can see this part, all of this right here is the sphenoid bone. So we're going to see that we have the lesser wings of the sphenoid here, and then down here this is the greater wings of the sphenoid. This little depression right here that we see here, that's going to be the sella turcica. So you can see right here, the sella turcica is here, and that's where the pituitary gland sits. So it's nestled right in this little depression there. So sella turcica means Turkish saddle, but you still have to tell me sella turcica. Up here we're going to see the two holes that are right here and right here. Those are the optic foramen, because that's where your optic nerves are going to come from, because you can see when we do this and I turn this way, there, that's coming right out of the eye. So your optic nerve comes through that. So that's the optic foramen right here, optic foramen here and here. As we move down, right here, this little hole that we're seeing right here, that one right there, that is the foramen rotundum. So a rotunda is like a circular part of a building, so that little circular one is foramen rotundum. Then we have this hole, this foramen right here. See how it kind of looks like an oval? That is foramen ovale right there, so the oval one. And then right here, right next to that sella turcica, this one that's kind of ragged looking, that's the foramen lacerum right there. You see all of these on this side as well. So right here, foramen rotundum, foramen ovale, and foramen lacerum right here. So you can see all those again. As we come back here, we can see this large hole right here. That's the foramen magnum here. And then you can see these kind of like almost little jelly bean shaped ones here. That's the jugular foramen. You don't have to know the foramen, but you do need to know the fossa or depression right here. So that is the jugular fossa right there. And you can see it really nicely right there, the jugular fossa right there. Another kind of hole you have to know is here. So you see this kind of ridged part right here, and then you see this hole right in here. So not the jugular foramen, but the circular one that's right in here. That is going to be the internal auditory meatus. So that's where that your nerve that's coming through your ear from your cochlea, so your cochlea, the vestibulocochlear nerve is coming through there. So that's going to be the internal auditory meatus there. So you can see those. The bone that you see in your lab book is another bone. This is the ethmoid bone right here. So when we look at this, this actually is the bone you're seeing right here. So where the cribriform plate and that Crista Galli are, that is on the ethmoid bone. So if we could take the ethmoid bone out of the skull, this is what it would look like. So the parts that you're seeing down here, that makes up kind of the inside of this nasal cavity up in here. But when we look at this, we can see that Crista Galli right here. So there's that Crista Galli again, and right around that is that cribriform plate again. But this whole bone right here, if you saw this just sitting out on a test, it doesn't really look like any of the other bones. That's going to be the ethmoid bone